Luis Ortiz has urged Deontay Wilder not to look past him. He said, "We saw what happened to Joshua. Don't look past me." To be honest, I think that Luis Ortiz should be hoping that Deontay Wilder looks past him. Because I did mention in one of my videos yesterday that Ruiz beating AJ in the manner that he did will serve as a reminder to the rest of the division not to rest on their laurels, to take every opponent seriously, not to overlook anybody. It will serve as a reminder. And people like Wilder and Fury in their subsequent fights now are going to be extra careful because they don't want to end up like AJ ended up. So that's going to happen anyway. But for Luis Ortiz, he shouldn't be telling Deontay Wilder, "Don't overlook me." In fact, he should be trying to do the opposite. He should be trying to do whatever he can to make sure that Wilder does overlook him because that gives him a better chance, you know, from Luis Ortiz's perspective. Now, Deontay Wilder's been running around, obviously, talking about the AJ loss, saying AJ quit. He was never a true champion. His whole career was just, you know, a bunch of lies and deceit and phoniness and all that kind of stuff. Well, look, Deontay Wilder is what Deontay Wilder is, but we can't forget, of course, that through Deontay Wilder's first 22 fights, his resume was appalling. Through AJ's first 22 fights, his resume was stellar. So it's a bit rich for Wilder saying all those kind of things. And Wilder is acting as though he is the one that beat AJ when it was Ruiz who beat AJ. Trying to take credit for another man's victory. No, Ruiz is the one who deserves the credit because he did what you weren't willing to do, Deontay, which is step in the ring and take AJ on. So give Ruiz the credit. He's the man right now. The unified champion. You could have been unified champion if you'd been your own boss instead of taking bad advice from Heyman and Finkel and stepped in the ring with AJ. You could be undisputed champion, excuse me, right now, if you chosen to do that. You could be undisputed champion right now, Deontay. But you took terrible advice because you're not a very smart man. And now you're sitting there, WBC strap, that's it. You could have had all the other straps and all the glory of knocking out AJ. Turned it down. I've never seen a man so happy to see a fortune go down a drain. Obviously, you got his brain-dead, moronic Wilder fanboys running around saying, yeah, they're all celebrating as if they didn't want the AJ. I mean, they didn't want the AJ fight to happen. We all know that. And they're reacting in a way which shows they didn't want the AJ fight to happen. Because if they wanted the AJ fight to happen, and if Wilder really... See, I've always given Wilder credit and said, I think he wants the AJ fight. But his reaction after AJ's loss to Ruiz makes me think he actually didn't want it. Because if you really wanted to fight, your reaction would be like Jarrell Miller. Because Miller is devastated that he messed up after seeing AJ knocked out by Ruiz. He's like, oh man, that should have been me in there. Pissed. That should have been me as the unified champion. That should have been me taking all that money. That should have been me taking all them belts. That should have been me taking all them glory. All that glory. That's Miller's reaction right now. He's like, oh God, I let the opportunity slip through my hands. That is the reaction of somebody who really wanted to fight AJ. But you don't see that reaction from Wilder. You don't see that reaction from his fans. These guys are running around acting like they've won something. No, you've just lost something. He just lost Wilder's biggest payday of his career by far, and he just lost the opportunity to have all those belts. Wilder could be undisputed right now if he wasn't so stupid. He's a good fighter. Don't get it twisted. I've always said Wilder's a good fighter. I've never said that Anthony Joshua would beat Deontay. Well, you see, some of these Joshua fanboys running around have always said, oh, Joshua destroys Wilder. I've never run around saying Joshua destroys Wilder. In fact, I've been saying for the longest, I don't know who wins that fight. And in fact, initially, a couple years ago, I was like, you know what? Based on styles, I think Wilder would probably beat AJ, but AJ beat Fury. Then Fury beat Wilder. I've talked about this before. So this is not about who I think beats who. It's simply about business decisions and people getting in the way of the undisputed fight. Wilder's team got in the way of the undisputed fight. And it appears now Wilder himself got in the way of the undisputed fight because he's not a smart man taking bad advice from people. He could be undisputed right now. We could have an undisputed champion right now. But now, Luis Ortiz gets the opportunity to upset the apple cart, become WBC champion, but Luis Ortiz himself could have been unified right now. He could be going into the Wilder fight with 3 of the belts in a much stronger position if he taken on AJ. But it is what it is. Luis Ortiz going into the Deontay Wilder rematch. I think Deontay Wilder is going to be extra careful against Luis Ortiz in the rematch because now, the pressure is going to be more on him. He can't mess up. He's supposed to have a unification now with Andy Ruiz. So he's going in there against Luis Ortiz, a very dangerous opponent. Let's see if it happens. Let's see if Ortiz is able to pull off the upset, and we might get the bizarre situation where we've got a Cuban WBC champion and a Mexican WBA, IBF, and WBO champion fighting for the undisputed. And that's no disrespect to any Cubans or Mexicans. It's just unusual to see that in the heavyweight division. Unifications are usually American versus American, Brit versus American, Ukrainian versus a Russian. That's what we're used to seeing when it comes to these undisputed fights. But hey, you never know, man. It could be Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz for the undisputed in 2020, the way things are going. But personally, I think Deontay Wilder will beat Luis Ortiz in the rematch. I picked Deontay Wilder to beat Ortiz first time around, and I'm picking him to beat Ortiz second time around. Ortiz hasn't been mixing in very high quality opposition since he lost to Wilder. He ain't getting any younger. And I think Wilder knows Ortiz now more. He knows what to do against him. And I just feel like Wilder can learn more and make more improvements than Ortiz can at this stage. So I'll be picking Wilder all day long in the Luis Ortiz rematch. But hey, you can't underestimate nobody. Particularly a guy who's hurt you like Luis Ortiz has. And remember, Wilder was helped out by the officials in that fight, in the Luis Ortiz fight. He was helped out. Let's not get it twisted. They helped him out. They gave him extra time to recover. For all we know, he could have ended up like Anthony Joshua if he didn't get that extra time to recover. But yeah, I still feel like he will have learned enough from that first fight to be able to deal with Ortiz more conclusively next time around. And again, Ortiz's tactics shouldn't be to remind Wilder, don't overlook me. Don't look at the Fury fight. Don't look at this. Don't look at, Ruiz. Don't look at none of that. That's not what Ortiz's tactics should be. If he wants to win, his tactics should be doing things which encourage Wilder to overlook him. That's what his tactics should be. But of course, Deontay Wilder shouldn't overlook Luis Ortiz, or he could end up like this. Right? This was one of Wilder's amateur fights where he got stopped. That's Deontay Wilder on the floor. That's the dude who stopped him. Wilder knows what it's like to taste the canvas. And obviously Wilder was dropped early in his career by a journeyman. So Wilder don't need to end up like that. I don't think Wilder will end up like that. I think Wilder, seeing what happened to Joshua and knowing what's at stake, will be extra careful in the Luis Ortiz rematch. And I don't see this happening. I don't see Wilder overlooking Ortiz at all. He was hurt by Ortiz in the first fight anyway. So he knows exactly how dangerous he is. He knows not to underestimate the guy. And I don't think this is going to be Deontay Wilder when he rematches Luis Ortiz. Anyway, drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. It's happening them out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.